the toolbar itself, let me show you. Let me show you. Okay, yeah, we're live now. All right, so let me go over here real fast. And number one, so the workspace manager, that Workspaces Pro was pretty cool too. Yeah, you can't quite do it in NT8. I think there's somebody that has some sort of version that kind of halfway works for NT8. But what we've done now, instead of doing it for the workspaces, is we've done it for the windows. So I'll show you what I mean briefly, and then I'll move on to what's happening here and what I think is about to happen. I think we're about to get finally a push back down to this area here, at which point I'll be looking for a long tomorrow morning on the hourly. Well, maybe the 138 too. Let me just add this Bloodhound template really fast. So you have all of these chart templates too, right? You've got a chart template for every single chart. This is Men 5, yeah. Men 5, Bloodhound ES. There we are. And now I've got the Bloodhound template there, you see? All right, so we do have a workspace manager, but it's not like you would be used to with that Workspace Pro. But it is, you know, for some reason, this is not what I asked for. It's just kind of what he thought would be useful, not realizing that, well, most people kind of have like hundreds of workspaces. So this button, if you add it here, it will produce a panel that has every single workspace that you have in that folder. So if I click on it here, look at that. That's not that bad. It's every single workspace I have in that folder. And it's just adding this button, this image, because I've saved that as the default button. But each one of these is a different name. And when you hover over it, it'll tell you that name. TTP Master ES, TTP Master Euro USD, and so on. So that one actually loads every single workspace, which is not good for me. I don't find any use for that at all, actually. What I've done is I've built what we call a general group here, and I've added nothing but workspace buttons to that group. And with that one here, you've got next workspace. And if you don't have a next workspace, don't open the next workspace. That's what that text says on the far right in the pop-up tooltip. All right, so I press next workspace. All right, now we flip to the higher time frames workspace. Am I actually on the right chart? Are you guys seeing it? Do you see a weekly Euro USD? Yeah, okay, cool. I think it's just because I paused YouTube. All right. Yeah, so this is pretty straightforward. Each one of these buttons is a workspace button. And then within those buttons, you literally have 5 options here: next, previous, or close, or desktop, or actually switch to the specific one that you have named. within that button. So I'll show you one of those, but this one is set to desktop. So if I click it, it goes to the desktop. If I click this one, that will take me to the crude oil workspace. Aha, but you can see it's been dropped. Oh, that's because, okay, that's what's been messing me up. Ninja ate my crude oil workspace, the bastard. Well, that happens occasionally. All right, so this one goes to the ES, and you can see TTP Master ES. This is a list of all of the workspaces that you have, whether open or closed. If it's open, it won't say it, but it will say it if it's closed. Okay. And then you can either force it open, or if it's closed, don't open it, or you can throw a pop-up message. And that's pretty much it. And then you've got hotkeys for every single button. You've got hotkeys for every single group of buttons, every panel. And then you can save as many templates of those buttons as you want. So quite literally everything you could possibly want. Unless you guys can think of something else, I'd be happy to add it. And now I'm just going through next. That's the pound. You can't see it. That's the euro. And then this is the one I want to show you. Okay. So better than that, we have what's called the window manager. And you can see when I grab the top border, or whatever you call that, the header of the chart, and I use my middle mouse wheel for this personally, it's snapping into those little boxes that are drawn on every monitor. I've got two big 4K 43-inch screens, both of which have actually I think they have like 6 inputs, and it splits them into 4 21-inch monitors, basically 21.5-inch monitor, something like that. Okay, so it's basically 8 monitors that only have the one gap between where the 2 monitors meet in the middle. It's actually too much. I don't like it. It's too big. I feel like I'm getting sunburnt here. But anyway, the only issue that we have with this window manager, which some of you guys may have noticed, is that if you have a fully maximized window, that's when it has trouble. So this little app, it's really pretty cool. It's only $5. This little app called Snapit, which is what the video is on. Let me grab that other one real quick. This little Snapit one will allow you to basically make the chart look like it's fully maximized without it being fully maximized. It's as if you drag the corners of the chart into that area. You see how it doesn't show maximized? So even when I make it to where it looks like it's fully maximized, it's still not actually maximized. See, now it says if I want to maximize it, I can do it. So let me do it. There's fully maximized. And then restore. Okay. So if it is fully maximized, that's when the window manager has trouble with it, because so funny thing in Windows 10, you can have kind of like a padding around the windows that bleeds into the other screens. And some programs handle that properly and some programs don't. Well, if you've ever noticed Ninja having a kind of a 4 or 5 pixel gap around the edge of the chart, or the edge of the chart 4 or 5 pixels into the other monitors, that's what's going on there. And because of that, when it's fully maximized, Window Manager has a little bit of an issue with it. So we use this program called Snapit. And Snapit can be found in the Microsoft Store. And that's what this video here is all about on my YouTube channel, which let me just show it to you just in case somebody's happening upon this video. So you can go here, you know, once you land on Trade the Plan, you go to the videos and you'll see the most recent videos. So these are all those Sunday sessions, which have, I don't know, not been so great, especially not today's, but that's all right. We'll get there. I'll get there maybe. This is the import manager that we'll go over here in a moment. This will teach you how to import. And then this is on the window manager. Single workspace. And it's a 31-minute video. That's not too bad. Somebody gave me a thumbs down. Oh, man. Why would you do it? This ruins my day. All right. Here's the link to that. And I know you guys already have it in the trading room, but I'll go ahead and put it there anyway. I'm sorry, John, did I answer something without? When was that? It was an hour ago. Sheesh. Yeah, I'll try to do better. This is the one that you really need right here, the import manager. So these are on the website as well, but not everybody is digging around too much on that website, unfortunately, because it's pretty ridiculous. So soon, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet. Never mind. I always do that, and then you guys don't have anything to surprise you. Yeah, that's another thing. So previously, a while ago, the way that all this worked with our reader system and importing and, you know, all this crazy automation via server stuff that we're doing, if you added extra indicators to the chart above the existing indicators, it would mess it up and it would disconnect from the actual readers. So we rebuilt the entire system to kind of get around that. And what we went with was a tag-based system, which now, I'm gonna have to step away in a second. You guys can hear, obviously I'm allergic to everything on the entire plane. This is where you name the chart. So it's the source chart tag. So because that says min5 and it's the ES, if I export that and you happen to have a 1 minute chart with a tag of min5, it will try to, you probably wouldn't have enough bars, but it would try to import all of my min5 ES objects to your min5 chart, which happens to be a 1 minute chart. So the only issue that can arise with that is if you're just building random workspaces and you kind of don't really know what you're doing and you happen to use the wrong chart template for a really fast chart. And if you have two charts with the same tag, it's going to just pick one, whichever one it finds first. So we tried to make some kind of a system for that, and all it did was slow it down. And we don't want that. We want to speed it up. It's already, I mean, it's, 2 seconds. Let's see. Yeah. So in other words, you can add any indicator to anywhere. Doesn't affect it at all, as long as the toolbar stays on the chart. It's not really happening yet, Jordy. Not really happening. Jordy was asking about the volume analyst. We've yeah, he's still kind of in design mode, so he's probably just using that as an excuse. But yeah, sometimes that can take a little time coming up with a good design that's extensible, as he likes to say. You know, it's got to be extendable, man, extensible. Because Daniel asked for all these things later on, and then if I can't handle it, then Daniel's mad at me and I cry. That's what he would say. Robust, that's right. And what we're doing. So, all right, just to be totally brutally transparent, there's an issue with performance with our tools, not really with our tools, but with our one tool, the volume analyst. And that's because it's running calculations on every tick that really should be run once per day. And yeah, there's really no need for it to be doing even a third of what it's actually doing. So what we're doing is we're redesigning it and we're offloading all of those calculations to an actual add-on window, like a property grid. It'll sort of be like a market analyzer. And we'll release the first version once that's done. And then I'm going to start adding in all the bid ask data stuff that I'm wanting to get in there as soon as possible. That's when I'll probably just go away with my automation and make trillions and trillions. You guys can either come along for the ride or maybe not. Probably not. I'm just kidding. I'd never leave you guys. You know, I've even got contingency plans for that. I'm a sucker for lifetime deals and such with all these little apps, and I got one that's designed to, you know, if something happens to you, it will. It's basically like the executor of a will, and it distributes your apps, you know, all your subscriptions, takes care of all of that for you. Of course, you'd have to have a lawyer to have it really set in stone, which I haven't gotten to that point yet. But if anything happened to me, Akush would carry on, and so would Cedric, and everything would be fine. And then they can be stressed out all day, every day. So, long story short, this is the coolest, baddest stuff you'll ever use ever. And I wanted to show you my track record, but unfortunately, that account is closed. I mean, I can show you the actual old video of you know, where I'm logging in and going through it. It's on the web, it's on the YouTube. But yeah, those actual files are on that Dell. So yeah. Anyway, long story short, it's kind of embarrassing, really, because I told you I'd go over all my track records and all that stuff today. The last thing I wanted to do was start with a sim track record, because that looks pretty ridiculous and cheesy. And to me, it would look like you're hiding something. So I'm not even going to do it. But I can't go through the live track record. I don't have a login anymore, but I do have all of the whatchamacallits, the statements. So I just don't have access to them right now, because that big expensive Dell that I bought is a basically just an overpriced garbage can, really. And the networking guy stood me up this weekend. He was supposed to be here Friday and then Saturday. Long story short, it's actually good that he's coming later because I upgraded my internet and I'm getting a new modem in the mail tomorrow. So, or router rather, modem/router. So I got 1 gigabyte from AT&T, and then I got half a gigabyte from another company, which I'll leave unnamed. But yeah, I kind of feel like a you know a doucher for not being able to show you. Uh, but it is what it is. You'll see it before we end this sale. So if I can't have another training session on Wednesday and show it to you, well, then the sale will extend until I can, which would probably be the day after that. So as soon as that dude gets here and sorts out that computer, then of course I'll have access to all of those files. I could actually email them and get them. That's what I'll do. I just didn't think of that. I was just kind of freaking out rather than actually coming up with a solution. It's usually what I do before a webinar. I just kind of freak out and don't do anything, just sit there and freak out. Kind of like what I used to do in school. Somehow I made straight A's. I don't get it. Yeah, I used to recommend Dell, and golly, I just really mad that I used to do that because they are just horrible. Customer support has degraded into just the rudest people I've ever spoken with on the phone ever. Finally have to just say, look, just pass the phone to somebody I can cuss, or else I'm about to let you have it. And then you kind of get somewhere. But yeah, anyway. So for the ES, we're in a position right now where it could have possibly made a low today, or Friday rather. We've just opened up. And it's opening up right around where it was. Just make sure I'm actually connected here because this is not moving. Nope, of course not. Do we gap down or gap up? If we're going down, then I want to see it break that prior low on 5 waves down for a big C wave of wave 4. Unfortunately, that's going to be a swing trade, but now with the advent of these micro contracts, swing trading is a viable option for you guys with smaller accounts. Most people don't want to hold overnight because of quote unquote risk. Well, chances are if you can't hold what you're trading overnight, then you're probably over leveraged anyway. And it's just a matter of time before you blow that account, unless you're really good. I mean, it's difficult to trade a small account. That'll be the one that I'll go over, where I go from 5,000 to 29 in 13 months. Doesn't sound like much, but I'm telling you, I've never been through more of a struggle trading than I had been with that account. The smaller the account, the more difficult it is, really. But I did it. I mean, it's basically just laying it all on the line, isn't it? I'm essentially taking my whole entire endeavor here and giving it up to a coin toss. I'm either going to make money and succeed, or I'm going to blow the account and look like a, yahoo, and that'll be the end of it. Thankfully, I made money. But right there at the end, I lost all control because I was trying to go for broke and break 30K and look like a hero before the next webinar, like a, arrogant little stooge. But yeah, that's when you fall back into all those horrible account decimating practices that you should never ever do, and yet people do it all day every day. The main problem that people have, that I hear, that people call in and ask, is there a way that I can keep myself from being able to do this? Can Blackbird prevent me from moving my stops? It's like, man, I wish. Nobody can prevent you from moving your stops but you, because it's your money. So if I were to create a platform, I'm sure that would be the first thing that I would add. But what happened to me is, man, 13 months, I was kind of stagnating there right at the end, bouncing around between 26 and 29, 26 and 29 for a couple of weeks. And I was like, I want to break 600%, or what was it? 5, 10. So 10 would be 100%, right? 15, 200, 20, 300, 25, 400. Right. I wanted to break 500%. So I didn't quite do it. And I ended up losing that day, but I didn't just lose a little bit. I lost about $2,000 that one day. And then the next day I lost another 2,500. And the next day I lost 1,000. That was it. I said, I'm done. I'm not going through this again, because that was the downward spiral that we get into that we can't get out of. And it happens much more quickly, obviously, when you're day trading. And now that we have these micros, which understandably have become pretty popular and are now quite liquid, you're able to position size a small account appropriately and hold for some of these bigger moves, whereas before, maybe you could hold one contract overnight. What is the overnight margin right now in the ES? 45, 5,500, something like that. Yeah, I should have had somebody monitoring the account, and see, there are brokerages that can do that for you. I just didn't have it set up. Stage 5 actually does that for you. I want to say Ninja's adding that ability soon, where you can actually set different risk protocols and whatnot. Like if I lose X amount after making N amount, then shut me down. Don't let me trade for the rest of the day. And the only way that you can get it to turn back on is if you call up the man in charge and actually get him on the phone, which is not easy. So yeah, that's what happened to me with that live account. I never did break 30, and then I shut it down. I said, look, I'm not going to go through what I had been through the last time I traded live. And that was quite a while before that, where basically, I did what most people do: added to losing positions and move my stops. And I think that's probably something most of you have done. No? Okay, Han, have a good one, man. I'll see you tomorrow. the initial account size was 5,000. So 5 to 29 something in 13 months. There's a video. If you write in and ask Cedric for it, he'll send it to you, where I actually log in to Phillip Capital and go through it all and show it in the spreadsheet and all that. And it was literally the day before that I shut down the trading, the day before I filmed that webinar. So yeah, it was pretty terrible feeling. And then I buckled down into Blackbird, which is what I'll show you now. This is what's really cool about this thing. At least it could be. If Blackbird would add just a couple of features for me. Yeah, it was a great run, and I messed it up because, you know, if it were an automated system, you could say, well, that's just statistically, you know, going to happen. You just happen to be in a good time frame within that system, and you could chalk it up to statistics and blah blah blah. Because, you know, there are a lot of systems that will trade quite profitably for, I'm talking intraday systems too, for 8, 10, 12 months in a row. And then, you know, they'll go all the way to zero within the next 6 months. So you could chalk it up to that, but see, that's 100% discretionary trading the whole entire time. Discretionary trading with some rules involved, obviously, but there's no way that you could fully automate that. Well, I suppose that you could if you had the right amount of money and the right programmer and the right amount of time. But let me stop talking and start showing. Isn't that what you want? Get on with it, Daniel. Guys, to be quite honest with you, I kind of need to take a break for a second. I need to get some water. Anybody else need to do the same? Fire break. Would y'all mind if we just take 5 real quick? Wax on, wax off. Yeah, me go wax off right now. All right, I'll be. It sounded terrible. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes. It's 6:04. I'll be back by 6:10. Oh man, you almost made me pass out. All right, be right back. All right. Sorry. Notorious for these. So let's see if I can get through something and actually teach a little bit and show you exactly what it is you're getting here. So on the forum, what you'll be seeing, and you'll know in the morning, but I may just kind of run the room one last time type deal for the next couple of days, just to get everybody kind of up to speed as quickly as possible. At the same time, since we've had a few new people join at once, and just use that as a way of letting people ask questions and getting people kind of in the habit of posting and asking questions, so that we kind of get off to the right start, because otherwise I'm afraid that if we don't start off with a lot of interaction, then there won't be a lot of interaction. However, Bo and I will be posting all day, every day, and trading live. So, well, I say I'll be trading live. I'll be trading live just as soon as I open a new account. Unfortunately, I just stopped marketing all this stuff because people were having trouble with the NT8. I mean, there's still a lot of people that haven't even moved over to NT8 completely, for heaven's sakes, because it is such a bear. It's a really difficult project moving from NT7 to NT8, especially if you have stuff like we have. So it just took about 3.5 times longer than I thought it would. And so I didn't want to sell to people and have them immediately have buyer's remorse and then, ruin the decent name that we've managed to hang on to for the sake of a couple coins. And then, of course, COVID. So that's right when we're ready to launch. But I don't know. Maybe it'll be like a blessing in disguise, because there are a lot more people that are interested in the markets now, that's for sure. Which means there's a lot more tire kickers out there too, though. So, at any rate, this is what I was kind of projecting last time, right? On Sunday. What day was Sunday last? It would have been the 9th. So we were right here. We were right here on this line. See if I can make a vertical. I don't know why. That's one thing that we have not added, and I don't know what happened there. Yeah, that's the open. That's the open. That's where I started talking right there. So I started talking right here last week. And I said, okay, we could be making the third wave high now, or we could still be in wave 4, and it could come all the way back down to the bottom of that channel, just so long as it didn't go below this high, right? So we actually did cruise up just a little. Didn't make it to the top of that channel, but that's a good sign. I mean, that's a sign that it's kind of fizzling out a little bit. And then here, what do you think that was? If that is a wave 3, and that's a wave 4, see, it's not a wave 4 though. Wave 4 is going to have to be something like down here. Let's just see how this played out, actually. Yeah. So, in other words, the count should be like this. Maybe even a truncated fifth of wave 3. So this makes much more sense. And I think I think we might actually be in an ending diagonal up for the end of wave 3. Now, it's crazy, I know, but, oh, well, sorry. Yeah, duh. There's wave 4 there. See, I was projecting it to be here. Okay, Daniel. Yeah, it's called hindsight bias. Subconscious or not. Subconsciously or not. Yeah. All right, so if this is wave 1 up right here, I'm going to get into Elliott wave a little bit. I'm going to export it. Bo's not going to export it for a little while until we both get on the same exact page. And we'll have to kind of do it amongst ourselves a little bit, you know, first, just to make sure that we kind of stick together on. I mean, we don't want to have opposing views and just confuse the heck out of everybody. But it's definitely something that I use and I've been incorporating into every track record that I've run so far. And they've all been positive since I've developed this one, this method that we're using here, the full methodology that we're using here. All right, whether sim or otherwise. Excuse me, only 2 live accounts, one of which I immediately had to take all the money out to pay payroll. So I barely had a chance to trade it. But anyway, we're looking for a 5th wave up now. Let me just think about this for a moment. So you'll hear me say this in the videos, and I'll be writing stuff on the charts now and exporting those. So if we're fairly certain that this is a wave 3 high, circle 3, and this may boggle the mind a little bit if you're brand new to Elliott wave. This is what scares people off or makes people laugh themselves off because they think it's garbage. Well, it's also one of the most difficult things to apply properly, which is why so many people fail to do so. And that kind of sounds like justification for using it, but my justification for using it is that it provides me with a roadmap that aids in the decision-making process as to whether I need to be looking for a long or a short. And that's about the gist of it. First and foremost is the areas produced by the market geometry. That's the first and foremost method that we're concerned with. Identifying the areas that we're going to trade from. Based on those areas, in turn, will define where we're trading to, you see. So let's just assume that I happen to be right about that, which, you know, who knows? We'll find out. But it would have gotten me into that long in real time had I been watching it and not working on all this other. How do you find the end of wave 4? Quite simply, just 1 to 3, right? Dang. It's almost like this stuff works or something. I don't even have to go searching for an example. It's right there. Every single time, every single webinar, you know, every time I do a training session, it's always right there. And all you gotta, I mean, you just have to know how to apply it. It's really not incredibly difficult. It'll take a little while to get the hang of it, but that's why we're here, to help get you to that point as quickly as possible, because this is the method that the guys I was trading with in Ecuador were using but on a daily and a weekly chart, because how else could they do it? They couldn't do it on an intraday chart because they didn't have relative volume, and they couldn't draw the areas in fast enough. Plus, they were managing about 30 million or 40 or 50 million. So, you're kind of forced to swing trade at that point. But I was their little do boy that would go through the S&P 500 and mark up just for my sake, I guess, really, because I didn't really do it properly at first, but that was my mission. I would have to go through all 500 stocks, take me about 3.5 days sometimes, and just keep updating them, and then try to identify certain 20 or so that seemed to be coming into an interesting spot, and just apprising them of that info. And of course, they'd take it from there. But they had decent returns year after year. But of course, it was my job to then learn automated trading. Someone who's never programmed a day in his life. I'm supposed to go off and learn automation and start developing trading strategies. Mr. Rowe here doesn't know jack about trading or automation in 2007 and 8. And then, the big bust. So long story short, that didn't last long. But I did keep this in the back of my mind, what these guys were using: Wyckoff analysis and trend channels. They didn't incorporate the whole, using both tick and minute charts, because they didn't use anything smaller than a 240-minute chart, really. Occasionally an hourly, but I wasn't allowed to use anything smaller than a 240. So long story short, when you're looking at stocks, intraday volume is not necessarily all that terrible. But when you add in futures with the overnight session, that's where it gets really, really ugly. And it basically just becomes useless, right? There's the open. It's always going to be, a 20 or 40 standard deviation break of the average past 300 bars or whatever you're using. And then it kind of levels off, and then you can start to sort of use it once you get into the session. So even here in the raw volume, you can see that, okay, that's there's something going on here. And let me just explain volume briefly. I know this isn't about volume. This is about the toolbar and Analysis Live, but it was the figuring out of how to incorporate relative volume and use it to confirm areas that really took my trading to the next level. I suppose I was doing fairly well without it, in sim, obviously. In a sim account, I wasn't trying to trade this stuff live while I was designing it. Although I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of did a little bit. Didn't do so well. But then, I put my head down. This is after building about 1,200 automated systems for people, all of which failed. So I quickly realized that, everybody out there's got the same idea and it all sucks. So time to get back to something that actually works. And I tell you, man, people throw volume out because of this. And they say it just, it's not all that useful. Volume per bar. And then all of a sudden, bid ask volume becomes the fad. Of course, before that, it was Renko's. And then it's bid ask data, volume profile. And now what is it? I don't know. Something else is coming soon. Ichimoku. What's next? I don't know. Something crazy. And ridiculous though, for sure. But volume, people like to say, is useless. Well, I'm here to tell you it's the only reason that my track record was as big as it was, as fast as it was. And without it, you know, like right here, you're barely missing the area. Maybe if I drew it from that high or low, I would have gotten it. A little bit closer, yeah. But you're barely missing it. Why? Because you've got a huge amount of volume coming in there at the low. Previous bars are much wider range. It's maybe a little bit difficult to see that when you're not used to analyzing every single bar as it comes in on every single chart. Most people are just kind of just, you know, glancing across the screens and dazed and confused. But I'm actually quite intensively focused on the size of the bars, what volume signals we're getting or not getting on all of the charts, and what would be the operative time frame for a trade if it were to set up right this moment. You see. So if I were thinking of a trade right now, what would I be thinking, you think? What would I be thinking, you think? I'll show you. I'll show you how I would define it. So going back to the hourly here. Oh, and by the way, to get back to the window manager briefly, the window manager allows you to save the position of your charts. Okay. That's the gist of it. You can watch that video. Just type in import manager, or sorry, Windows manager on my YouTube channel and you'll see it. But it allows you to save as many different layouts as you want. And then you can even bring back the zoom level of the chart. The zoom is how many bars are showing on the chart. So this is a really, really cool tool because very few window managers will actually work with Ninja 8. To be honest with you, I don't know of any that do, but I'm sure there's got to be at least one. All right. So what am I thinking here? I'm thinking that we probably put in wave 3 high right here, or possibly here, if that's a little expanded flat. But let's just assume that's wave 3. Okay. If that's wave 3, I don't know what in the world, how you would count that. I mean, the way we were doing it was just a big 1, 2, and 3 is right on the verge of being, yeah, see, it's smaller than wave 1. I'll show you what I mean in a second here. I'll completely define it out for you so you're not lost. Yeah, which means we don't have a whole lot of room to the upside before that count would be totally annulled or whatever, nulled out. I'm just thinking here for a second. And see, this is the kind of crap that I go through live in the trading room. And then I'm sitting there continuing to talk because I feel like I need to talk because the mic's on when I need to be shutting up and focusing. And that's where Analysis Live is going to benefit you guys the most because I'll be doing this analysis 10 times faster. And then the little short and sweet recaps will be there for forever for you to go back and watch. You know, it'll all be documented without you having to do it yourself. So if this is a big 1, 2 up and big 2 down, we would expect wave 4 to not be as wide. We would expect a sharp wave 4, right? Because if wave 2 is sideways,
Slightly more often than not, wave 4 would be sharp. So this would be like a double 3 or could be a flat. So we would be expecting like a zigzag down for wave 4. Something sharp. Let me just check a couple of things real fast. And the way that I'm going to do this moving forward, yeah, is I'll be, applying all the analysis, exporting it. But then when I make the little recap videos or what have you, after I've exported everything, I'll walk you through why I chose the points that I chose. What count I'm thinking about, why I'm thinking what I'm thinking, and what will I need to see at the next area and where that area is for the trade to set up and actually take it. Yeah, Stephen. Yeah, right. Zigzag is just a part of Elliott wave. It's just one of the corrective patterns. So what we have, excuse me, is it 7 corrective patterns or 13 with all the variations? Something like that. 13 patterns you have to basically memorize. So I'm looking for corrections within established trends, and that can be on whatever chart. And I've found, Randall's asking what's the best time frame. That is a difficult question. I couldn't actually quantify it for you, but I would say that well over 80% of my well over 80% of my earnings came from about, I'd like to say about 20% of the trades, but it's really about 15% of the trades. And a lot of those were held overnight. So it seems to me that the larger the chart, the longer the hold, which essentially means the the less time that you're sitting there in front of the computer micromanaging it. You actually give it time and room to make it to where it's going without closing it early and screwing up your whole R multiple and everything. That's when I get the really, really high R multiples. So the last sim record, and my live record is actually really close to this, slightly better, I think. I just did it a lot faster in sim, but it averages out to about 2.8 win to loss ratio, which is sort of like R multiple, but not exactly, I guess. Yeah, essentially I'm making $2.80 for every dollar I'm risking. But that's on average. That's including all winners and losers, right? Aggregated all together. So that means that a lot of my winners, because I only have about 40% winning trades between 37 and 43, it kind of fluctuates. A lot of my winners will actually be 10 to 1 or 20 to 1 type. Well, not 20 to 1, but well over 10 to 1. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, anyway, to be honest with you, I don't know what to make of this. It's really quite ugly. And that's the point at which we go to the what? The RTH chart, because the ES is a derivative of the cash index S&P 500, isn't it? It is indeed. So where is it? Where are you? This is what we need to really nail this count down. And I'm not looking at anyone else's count because I don't want to smear my own judgment or whatever you call it. I don't want to taint it. I'm telling you, it looks like a running double three or something. I don't know about a whole 1-2 here. The guys at Elliott Wave are still trying to call this a wave too high. And that is getting a little bit, you know, do I have to say it? You've only got about 40 points. So no, I'm afraid not. I mean, the NASDAQ is pretty well, it's out of control. And do you think those guys are going to be posting negative returns anytime soon? Any of those tech companies? Some of them, I'm sure, but people like Amazon, Microsoft, those guys are posting all time. They're making money hand over fist. Even if the last one showed that they didn't, the next one, I assure you, will. Anything to do with computers and working from home is just out of control. It's kind of difficult to even find a computer now. It's definitely difficult to order parts. All right, so I'm just trying to get my bearings here. I'm thinking you've obviously lost a lot of steam. So it is fizzling out a little. I'm going to draw this one just to see what the parallel looks like from the high. Yeah, the high actually came in on exactly the 100% expansion of that. And then we went through it. So now we're no longer using this one, obviously. So let me just think for a moment. You've only got so many options here. And this is where the trading room gets so boring. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how you guys like it. I'm not, you know, if it's, well, we'll talk about it as time goes on, but I'm of the opinion that it's going to be way better than the trading room. And we'll make it actionable alerts that you'll be able to hear from the import manager, stuff like that. Yeah, it's lost momentum to the upside. All right, let's just assume that we're going to go up and break the high. So what do I do? Where do I begin? How do I start to look for a trade? Well, what is the most recent major volume signal? You don't even have to have that. Let's assume you just have the toolbar. What is the strongest push to the left? Okay, obviously it's down here, but that was immediately pushed right back up to a new high. So we basically have to start from right here to the right. Strongest push has been up. That's clearly an impulsive push up. And then we've got our little correction back down that happened to throw over the bottom of that channel. And then you've got a really awesome churn bar right at the low. That is just barely not a climax because the previous bar was so big. So normally that would show up as a 2-bar pattern if it were probably the 30-minute does. All right, so assuming that that is the low, how am I going to get into this? What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to look and try and find where this retracement may come back to. If this is the low, the retracement may have already ended here, and we had the long setup on the 2-minute chart, right? All right, well, what if that's just the A wave down? We're in the B wave back up, and we're just looking to come back and tick out that low and then go. Well, let's see if we have any other areas that line up there. You've got this area. Let's see. Maybe if we drag it back one, it looks even better. It lined up better on the tick chart, actually. I don't know that I would expect it to come back and make a new low. All right, I'll add a volume profile there as well. And just see where the point of control up in the top is. Oh, well, it's right there. Always reload the chart after I adjust a profile just in case. Sometimes when you adjust it, it doesn't grab all of the data properly. It's kind of like trying to calculate it as you're moving it. And all these little indicators up here, these are just for troubleshooting the signals that are produced by this template. So the only signal that you can see on this chart on the hourly is where? It's right there at that low. So you didn't even have one here, which is a little bit bizarre to me. But you surely had one there on the 30-minute. Let's just double check real quick, because that's what I want to do. I'm going to walk you through one good trade setup so that you understand exactly what it is that we're looking for. We're trying to identify what is the actual operative time frame. And then based on that time frame, what are the charts that we'll use to confirm the trade? And yeah, look at that. So you actually had a potential long here. See, these are not long signals on the min 1, min 2, min 3, min 4, min 5 charts. They're potential areas where you might have everything come together for a trade. All right, it's the one, let's call it the prerequisite for a trade. That's kind of the way that I'm using it. So if we have, in this case, the 30-minute chart being the operative time frame for this trade right here, right on that low too. Then what do we use? Well, we use the subsequently faster charts. We'll include the 30-minute. I'm actually including one higher time frame as well. So one time frame up. So I'll include the min 5 for the volume. And it's not weighted as heavily though. And then on the way down, I'm looking for, as many charts as possible. The more charts confirming, meaning the more charts that we actually have volume signals, namely 2-bar patterns, hopefully some volume divergence on at least a couple of the faster charts. Depending upon the wave, you know, sometimes a C wave or a zigzag can be a very straight shot like this one was. You're not going to have divergence on that one. I'm sorry, but you're never going to have it. So if you're waiting for divergence for every single trade, well, you're going to miss those zigzag type moves, the really sharp ones. Okay. The ones that are more difficult to find. The ones that feel like when you're buying them, like you're a total idiot. And then all of a sudden you're up 60, 70 ticks in 5 minutes. Excuse me. Those are the ones that you'll continually miss if you're waiting for divergence. All right. That's why I've allowed for these, what I call V bottoms and V tops, even though it's not exactly a V bottom per se. It's a very sharp move, fast move down into the low. You preferably take out a previous low, which we did. You don't always do that, but I like to see it because then some stops have been run, and typically the move out of that zone will be faster. At least that's what I've found. I can't exactly give you a number on that and say that definitively, but that's the way it seems to me. I'm not one of these guys that can give you a bunch of super precise statistics. The amount of work that it would take to actually do that properly is incredible. Okay, at this one, this is what we're looking at. That's a good looking trade right here. All right, so we've got a new breakout to a new high after breaking some previous lows and then going straight up to a new high, right? And now we've turned back up. See, I'm kind of thinking we're not gonna break down. I was hoping that we would get 5 waves straight down and we would have a zigzag probably about half of the time that this one took to play out. So remember, wave 2 and wave 4 will be somewhat related to one another. Usually one is half the size of the other. I shouldn't say usually, a small percentage of the time, more than 50. One would be half the size of the other. So, or somewhere there about 61.8, something like that. So let's just see. It's not the one I need. And I need the hourly, in fact. All right. I'm going to get the Blackbird in just a moment here. We're going to put a trade on as if just jumping into it. Somebody messed up my fields. It's probably me. Yeah, look at that. That's probably where we would go. So if we are going to do a wave 4 down, it would kind of make sense just because of the fact that if this is a 1-2, well, we've broken through that 161.8. So we've kind of met the minimum, but it doesn't look anywhere near done moving to the upside to me. Yeah, it's kind of rounded out a little bit. It's lost some momentum to the upside, clearly. Of course, it depends on what chart you're looking at. And the channels are getting a little less steep, you could say. However, you haven't made it to the top of this one yet, have you? Well, that's a little bit relative because look at this high. This is where it gets fuzzy. When you've got something that looks like this. And this is where the nuance comes in, and why it's kind of good to have somebody coaching you along as you're learning this. I know a lot of you guys already know it and you apply it on your own without need of me for sure. But I would imagine though that if you haven't been in the trading room for a while, that you might be a little bit pleasantly surprised at my analysis compared to how it used to be. Because I used to be a little bit, well, basically retarded. So anytime we've got multiple highs like this in a row, 3, I'll use the one in the middle. And in this case, that's what I would do. That gives you a channel that's pretty far away. And if you were to come back near the previous 4th wave of 1 lesser degree, let's just imagine that this is somehow the end of that 4th of the 3rd here or here. It's really jacked up with the way this does it here. It's almost like a 1-2, 1-2, but I'm not going to major on Elliott wave right now. It's a pretty heady topic, and most people snicker at it anyways. Excuse me. Until we break down through this channel here, I have to assume that we're going higher. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I would do on a faster chart. If I'm looking for a long now, I've already missed it, right? So I want to try to get into it. Well, if it doesn't actually pull back, it'll go without me and I'll watch it go without me. Now, a lot of you guys would see that and you would immediately become just enraged. I've dealt with it. I've heard it on the phone. You know, I know who you are. I've been there. I felt the same way before. The market's moved real well today and you didn't catch anybody. Well, why do you think that might be? Because all of the work that I've done over the years, those setups that I've defined just didn't happen that day. And I had to sit back and watch it move all around without me. You know, you can do that and you can be very specific and you can prove out what you're doing. And some people would say, oh, well, you got to do that programmatically. Well, is that how they did it back in the 30s and 40s? Is that how those guys proved everything out? And made tens and 20s and hundreds of millions? No. No, they became very exceptional discretionary traders, which is what I'm trying to teach. And it all starts and ends with risk management. It's key. Can't make that clear enough. If you're not able to stay in the game by managing your risk, then you may as well just give your money to charity or just give it to me, actually. I'll make real good use of it. You've got to be able to have some self-control. You can get angry, you can get pissed off, you can break keyboards, you know, don't try to control your emotions, but control your actions. You know, good luck controlling your emotions. That's a losing game, losing battle for sure. All right, so back to the drawing board here. We're on an hourly chart. We're looking for more up. I'm just seeing what all we've hit. So we've got plenty of room. We're going above 3,400, I'd say. All right. So let's say I want to just save this as one view, and I'm just going to shift through charts. All right, well, that would be chart number 5. So I'll save it as number 5. Click to save. Okay, click it. All right, cool. So now let's go to number 4. There's number 4. Zoom in a little bit. This is the one we're interested in here. We want to see right there. All right, let's just imagine that I'm willing to put on the risk from here, just below that channel. So however far away that is, and we can tell real quick. Using my handy-dandy roller meter. It's kind of set for pretty big R multiples. It's really not that big, but anyway, let's check it out. So that's all in, all out trade would pretty much have to be. Let me just clean this thing up a little bit. That ain't looking all that good. I'm just going to do it anyway in Blackbird just to show you. But yeah, what is that? So that's an R multiple of pretty much 1-to-1, isn't it? Yep, pretty much 1-to-1. No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see what it says there. That's why. Yeah, it's 2. Okay, so let's say that's favorable. We're going for $2 and we're risking $1. That's what that R means. It's your R multiplier, really. Number 4, I'll save this as number 4. Oh, let's say I want to go back to number 5. Okay. There's number 5. And I forget that I saved this as an hourly chart. Let me change this back to what it should be, which is a 15-minute. That's interesting right there. I need to take a screenshot of that. Just treating that as if it were the hourly ETH. It's the first I've seen that. Okay, sorry, this is getting boring maybe, but hopefully you're learning something. You will be learning something. All right, so this is what I mean by maximize charts mess it up. See what maximized looks like? Well, you can't see it now, but maximized makes that little window in the top right corner have 2 little windows, right? Because it's showing the restore button now because it's maximized. All right, this is non-maximized, like that. All right, so I'm going to save this as just number 8 because it's the biggest RTH chart. And I need to make sure that it's handling charts. Just click OK first and then open it back up. And now I'm going to save it. And if I wanted it to restore the chart zoom levels, I would click that button. And if I want it to hide all of the other minimized charts from the task tray, so that when I hover the mouse over the task tray, it just shows the visible charts or the charts that haven't been minimized, then I would check that box. That's maybe a little bit difficult to understand, but once you watch that video, you'll understand it. All right, so now let's say if I go back to 5, does it bring back the hourly? Maybe I didn't actually save the proper hourly. Let's see. I guess I saved the hourly RTH. Yeah, I did. All right, this is the one I want to save right here. All right, this is what we'll save as number 5. With the zoom levels. All right, now we'll go to 8. And 5. Yeah, something's weird between those two. It's almost like they have the same ID or something. I wonder if Cedric may have copied that within the workspace. Well, that's awkward and embarrassing, but it's the first time I've seen that actually. All right, let's move on down. So we're looking for a long. I'm gonna go ahead and get into Blackbird so I can show you how this works real quick. I'm gonna remove the volume off of here since I don't use it or need it. All right, let's see. I'll get to some of your questions here in a moment. And I'll show you what this looks like here in the forum, which I should have done by now. But that's all right. All right, this is a foolish thing to just jump in long as the market's going up. Like, to me, it is. I like to sell it as it's going up, buy it as it's going down, but only into the exact precise area, which I've predefined. And you see, might actually be a better sell than it is a buy at this point. Love how these little kids think they're race car drivers around my neighborhood. I think I'm gonna have a little surprise out there for them tomorrow. Sound like an old man. Yeah, you're right at the top of the value area high. I mean, this is kind of a normal distribution here. So you're approaching the top of it. It's at the top of the downsloping channel at the very least. It's not an upsloping channel though. Maybe it is on the tick chart. Why would you assume that I do not do top-down analysis? It's basically what I was doing, right? Going from the 5 to the 4. I just happened to go to the 2 just to get on with it here so I can get through this quickly because I'm taking way too long. But yeah, it's been a while since you've been in the trading. I don't know if you ever were in the trading room. But yeah, it's always starting off top down unless I've already seen something, unless it's already clearly setting up on a particular time frame, which is sometimes pretty easy to spot. So this is what's interesting to me, this part right here. The fact that we're just now breaking through that trend line after losing momentum. You can't even make it back to the midline. I swear, I think it's primed and ready for a third wave down, a third of a third. So to be quite honest with you, this is probably going to sound crazy. It looks like it's about to go up to new highs, right? It does. It really does. I'm leaning more towards the top of that channel before breaking the high. Maybe not even break this high. But to be honest with you, I can't really take it unless it does break that high. I need to see it make it to about right there, which would have to be in line with my down sloping areas, which probably isn't going to happen. Let's see. Huh? It's not a terrible throw over. Yeah, it kind of is. But then again, we're going to draw this same one on the tick chart. So that's when we'll know for sure whether we're looking for a lower high or we're looking for a break of this high. Either way, I'm going to be looking and thinking about a short. I just am, because it's fizzled out. This RTH chart is pretty clearly showing that, how it's losing momentum. I mean, we're talking an incredibly strong and fast momentum right back up. I think this was probably the strongest momentum down we've ever seen in the history of man. And it's equally as strong right back up and out of it. And it's all manufactured to some extent. You got to wonder why half of that printed money went right to the international bankers, though. Was this just an excuse to bail them out without people knowing? I'd say so, because if we had to go through another 2008, do you think the public would stand that? Another big bank bailout? I mean, they're doing the same thing they did. I know waitresses that are making, nothing with kids, and they have big, beautiful home that they're making payments on, or not really making payments on. No money down, all over again. Fannie Mae, I think, actually. My cousin's got one from Freddie Mac. He's out of a job now. So doesn't really correct your behavior when you don't get punished, does it? Mm-mm. Spare the rod, spoil the child, right? Rick, when we get done here, that's what I'm going to be working on. Yep. I'll show you exactly how to get in there. Oh, you should you know what? Cedric just fixed that. So I'm just going to let you in on a little story. We hired a guy to take care of all that 3 months ago, but he just hasn't done it. So, yeah. Because Lord knows I don't know how to use Infusionsoft. Corey did, but yeah. So we hired an Infusionsoft expert, but it just kind of, nothing ever happened. So anyway, Cedric just figured all that stuff out. I'll have to go in there and add the right tags for you guys, and then you'll be able to log in. So let me export this just to show you what it looks like. Unfortunately, not this time around. It's impossible without Corey. All right. So I'll export it. You can barely see the little pop-up images, and then should have it down here now. Where is it? There it is. How do I make it? That's 23 hours ago. Which one did I? Oh, I exported the hourly. Sorry. I'm so tired, guys. I'm sorry. This is turning into a hodgepodge as usual. All right, let me just check something real fast. Something has changed. I mean, this was all very clearly working last night. Yeah, I've got access to the server. It's not uploading my my file. Upload images, upload. All right, sorry, I'm just going to test this real fast. Yeah, it says successful. So riddle me that. Oh, well, there it is. Now it should, if you're scrolled all the way down, it should automatically update for you. But all right, we're going to have to figure something out with the way this. So before, discourse forums always had to be a certain width of the page. So we've widened it now so that you can actually use a full screen, widescreen, normal HD monitor. But it's not filling up the screen unless it's completely full screen, and it doesn't seem to be scrolling down automatically. You guys won't see this stuff at the bottom, or at least you shouldn't. So let me just check that real quick. I'm going to do it one more time on a different chart. I'll do this one. That definitely needs to be exported. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's adding it, but it's not. I want it to snap down. All right, I'll figure that out. I mean, if nothing else, I can make a little thing that'll automatically do it now. that I can pass out to you. But that's at least the image side of it, and then the import side of it. So if I wanted to import all of Beau's objects right now, I can quite easily do that. Let's go to crude oil. And I'm going to do what you asked a little while ago, Brandon, which was merge all the charts together. I doubt you're still here. Maybe you are. Actually, I imagine you probably are. Yeah, you are. Of course you are. All right, that's got to be an image. There we go. All right, so let's say I want to import some of Beau's work. I'm not sure if he has a NASDAQ weekly. I believe he does. Let's see. How would I know? You right click on the title of the toolbar, and you guys will have one tonight or tomorrow that'll be like this, basically. And then another couple of smaller ones with fewer buttons. And I would recommend just starting off with the smallest one, getting the hang of that, and getting a gaming keyboard for your left hand, and getting a pretty nice mouse with a lot of buttons. I think the cheapest one that's the nicest, highest quality for the least amount of money with the most buttons is the Logitech 507. And that thing's pretty nice. So you open up this by right clicking on the title, and then you click on Import Manager, and it opens this Import Manager. No, you guys won't be exporting, but you will be able to use the screenshot button to upload images. So upload image to Trade the Plan forums. You can check that box right there. And depending upon which instrument it is, that's what I'll include in the email, the welcome email tonight or tomorrow morning that Cedric might have to finish. So we'll have 3 main forums for now: ES crude oil and the 6E. In the ES, we'll go NASDAQ, YM, the NASDAQ 100 index, any stocks or, whatever. Crude oil, the only other thing that can go there is USO or QM, which is like a mini contract kind of. It's not very liquid, but anyway. And then the 6E, which will also go the Euro USD, and like the pound. If we open up the pound, any Forex would go there for now. So we're going to kind of throw in some extra markets for free for a little while, just to kind of get everybody in there and using it, and get some feedback and whatnot. I mean, we've been having feedback as far as the system goes. System's working fine, but now that we have a new forum, I want to get as many people in there and learning as possible, so we can try to find some good traders. And go make some serious money. All right, so you've got multiple options here, but you can filter based on analyst as well. So those are all the objects recently from Beau that I can import, that I have charts for will show a 1. If I don't have a chart for it, or at least if it's not visible, must be visible, it'll show a 0. So I actually have a crude oil weekly. It's just not showing. So let me go find it. Nope, it ate it. Ninja ate it. That's right. Bastard. Jim, no, because you need the update that I have. Yeah. So it may import it for you if you set your settings to server 0, which I'll show you real quick. Yeah, see, this is why tomorrow I'm definitely going to do kind of a live training, sort of like a normal trading room session, just to make sure, everybody's kind of taken care of and not off to whatever, drift in the wind and get nowhere fast. Son of a gun, I'm having fun on you. I've just locked it up. This is what I do. So when you're flipping workspaces, give it a second to let the charts actually finish loading. Don't start clicking on stuff right away like I just did. Oh yeah, Rob, but you've got access to all that, don't you? How is the loan activity? Have they stopped doing all that yet? So that was probably a year ago that girl got that loan, and my cousin too. But I remember all that talk about that weird rate. It wasn't the LIBOR. What was it? The overnight thing they were talking about for months and months, or at least they talked about for a couple of days and then stopped talking about it. The intra-bank rate, what's it called? Well, I know there is a LIBOR, but that's the Fed rate, right? Evidently, there were some liquidity issues in the banks not long ago that was getting out of control. But they're pretty liquid right now. Yeah, that's what the guy at Capital One told me. He goes, come August, there will be no money. So if you need a loan, you better get it now. I said, loan schmoan. Certainly didn't want to get on the dole. Then all of a sudden the accounting rules change on you, Mm-hmm. That's what I was worried about, pretty much. So they're like basically causing it. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm kind of worried about. They ultimately will all work in tandem. And they'll determine whether we have inflation or not. Just because we printed a bunch of money doesn't mean we have to have inflation. They got to loan it out first. Anyway, sorry guys, this thing is it's the pound that I left open that's giving me trouble for some reason. I don't know why. But it's obviously looking ridiculous here. Maybe I'd better just hang it up. Oh, there you are. I left one of these chart sync buttons on. But anyway, you've got this little guy causing us some trouble. So this is a Forex chart, the actual foreign exchange market, right? And it's a tick chart. So if I put raw volume on here, meaning the actual volume, VOL, that Ninja provides for free, it should be basically just a flat line at 130, right? Because volume in Forex is the number of transactions, because they don't actually give us the raw volume data, or at least, I don't know, there's people that try to approximate it now, which I think is a kind of a joke. But yeah, they're not required to tell us. Interestingly enough, they're not required to show us their books either. And we can audit them. Huh. Whatever. So yeah, we have to substitute ticks for the actual number of contracts in Forex. And that can become a problem when you're getting down to some faster charts and you're actually using the raw volume, the true volume. So it's showing 20 millions, which is very, very interesting. It's obviously got an extra decimal point or two in there because I have it set to 211 basically. So that's the minimum. The maximum is 4 times that. That's that second number. So the minimum is 211 ticks. The maximum is 4 times that. So that's why you'll see some, we'll get this big, massive spike when you have very high volume per second, such as you did right here. Okay. But when it's actually moving and moving rather quickly, it starts to approximate what looks like normal volume, just the raw number of ticks. Okay, so the only 2 charts that I have straight raw volume on are the gray chart, the row BB, and the row 2. The row 2. The row 2 has both raw and relative, and actually the row 1 has raw volume as well. Raw meaning true, just regular old, it's not relative. So here is the raw volume, and you see how big the numbers are? It's in the billions, might be trillions. Anyway, that's causing a little bit of an issue for Ninja doing number crunching on such massive scale such as this. When, see, that's what we're offloading. So that's the very next thing that'll come out, hopefully before the end of the next month. I would expect by the end of next month, or else. Anyway, guys, honestly, I could go all day, but I've been going all day, and all day yesterday as well. 30-year going to at least 0. Did it do so, or you're saying it will? Coming to a country near you soon? Rob is just telling me about the 30-year bonds potentially going to zero. What is TV? Trade what's it called? Trading View. They don't have tick data. They only have minute data. But they can get the volume in the minute bars. I mean, yeah. But yeah, the most of the browser-based whatever trading, whatchamacallits, platforms, they don't have tick data because it is some incredibly serious number crunching. And it's not very easy to do in a browser when you've got hundreds of thousands of people using the same browser, Nah, yeah, they don't, man. I wish they did because we'd build for it, but that's the problem. They don't. I mean, unless something's changed, I don't changed. I don't think they even possibly can. I think it's literally impossible. So just a word to the wise. But yeah, look at that one. So that's what I love about the pound. It's sometimes some of the most beautiful market geometry of all time. I just love this stuff. I don't know why it does what it does, but it does it, and it does it consistently all the time. And you'll see that over the next 2 weeks. I mean, goodness gracious, man. Come on. Look at that. Is that happenstance? I don't think so. It's really not. So anyway, join us or not. But I hope you live to regret it if you don't. Charlie says, yeah, buy now or else. So, all right, guys, let me see if we got any questions. I'm going to shut it down because this is getting weird. Does my soft ear? I don't know. Does it? Oh, does my software contain market profile features? What is the difference between market profile? Market profile is based on minute data. Volume profile is based on volume data. Market profile is actually trademarked and technically owned by Stoudemire in the CME. And if you use that name, you are asking for trouble. And you can call it volume profile, but yeah, I don't think anybody could or would trademark that because that would be to pull a dick move. But that's the kind of thing that guys at the CME do all the time. Actually, Stoudemire did do a ton of work, so you got to give him some credit. And then after him was what's his name? He's still around. Can't remember his name. Dalton. So yeah, you can't use minute data. We could make it do so. I'm sorry. All right, let me rewind. Market profile is a very complex way of displaying how much time was spent chopping around from whatever range was created per 30-minute candle based on colors and, all kind of stuff. Crazy looking. Volume profile is literally just looking at the total number of contracts traded at each price. Okay, all of these volume profiles that you can draw, and I'll be surprised to even see it work on the Forex. Just drew that to see what would happen actually, because I've never actually drawn it on the Forex before. It would show total number of contracts. Maybe, but that is an hourly chart. So hours will switch to minute data after you cross the 5-day threshold. So depending upon the size of your chart, that could be anywhere between 500 and 5,000 bars. And then you can make it switch at 10 days, or you could use tick data all the time or minute data all the time. Are y'all hearing feedback through my microphone? Because I am. Sounds weird. Sounds like little kids laughing or something. No? Huh. It's probably just time to go to sleep. Yeah, so what this is all about is a moving away from the trading room to the forum, Mr. Frank. So over the next couple of days, right, if you bought the toolbar, which is this page here, then you could join us in what would essentially be basically the trading room for the next couple of days, as we kind of get you guys prepared for using the forum, and then shifting more toward just getting the analysis directly to your charts, and then getting a video and a screenshot. And then you guys also having the ability to upload your own screenshots instantly. And then not have to listen to me talk for 3 hours straight, but only get 5-minute little recaps here and there periodically, at least a few a day. And then every single day, a daily recap. And then you'll actually have content that you can track. You can, follow and see if I'm full of it or not, and whether I'm making money or I'm a fraud or whatever. So I'm putting it on the line once again. And I'm pretty much ready to do that, because I'm ready to make some money, and I'm tired of this continual development, never-ending cycle of NT8 madness. So I'm done with it. I'm ready to finally trade live again and just focus on making money. And then you guys will see all that in real time. It's not a trade calling service. Don't confuse. Disclaimer. It's down here, actually. There's that disclaimer right there. Read it. You should definitely read that. There's a little one right there. Don't trade with your lunch money and such. And then you can go to futures.io and read that crazy thread. Holy mackerel. And read about us there, or Facebook or Google or whatever. I don't know who that guy is. Old Yanni. Funny looking character. And there's the master suite. The lowest it's ever been, I think, in years. So that is the full suite. To make it all work the way that I'm using it, you would also have to own Bloodhound and Blackbird, which goes on sale 2 times per year. And that's during Shark Week, which is now, and Black Friday. And that's it. So those are the only 2 times that you can buy Bloodhound and Blackbird. And you may as well buy it from Shark Indicators directly if you don't have it already. Okay. Mick, I've been dreaming about your templates, man. Done a lot of dreaming. I tell you what, though, I was working on it and I couldn't get the triggers to work, and then realized, oh, it's because they're not in there. So we finally got that fixed. But yeah, this is just owning the toolbar gives you access now to the forum, which is the Analysis Live, the actual exporting of my objects from my charts to your charts, and then screenshots of the volume and the divergence and all the bloodhound signals and all of my trades, and everything will be documented. And I'm either going to lose my ass and look like a fool or make a bunch of money. So I hope it's the latter. I really do. Y'all wish me luck, because it's on. I don't know if I'm going to quite be able to pull the old Bressert 7 million in 13 months, but I'm going to try to get 70 grand, I guess. Yeah, so Warren, Mr. Warren, we're going to move away from Slack now and go into what's called a discourse forum. And that's where we'll be. And you access that from the members area, the portal. So once you sign into the portal for the first time, you'll be taken to what's called Happy Fox. Get down from there. What are you doing? Get down. Come on, get down. And that's the knowledge base. It's where all your support tickets are and all that. So the first time you log in, you'll be taken there. If you have any tickets, it'll show them. And then you'll have a menu item up at the top that'll say, go back to members area or member home. And then from there, from member home, then you'll see the forum. So once I log in, then I'll see the link to the forum right here. See, there's help. That's the Happy Fox area I was telling you about. So that's where all the tickets are, knowledge base, articles. So you can search your tickets. See, these are all mine, which is basically all of them, I guess. I don't know. I don't check email, so just kidding. But yeah, we've got a knowledge base that's being built out, has been being built out, and is getting bigger and bigger, which is here. And it's about to get even larger now. And we'll incorporate some videos into there. But what we've got on the way is going to be just, yeah, heads and shoulders above and beyond what this ever could be. And it's all one platform, all integrated, one site, handles everything, handles the payments. You know, you can manage all of your own subscriptions, receipts, whatever. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty awesome solution, and it's a course builder. So, and we're starting with risk 101 because nobody seems to understand that trading without a stop and moving your stops while you're in a losing position is a bad idea. If you don't know it now, you'll know it soon enough. One way or the other. Either I'll tell you or you'll just blow your account. All right, you guys, any other questions besides those 30 or 40 that are left? Mr. Bob, where did you write it, in the question field or the chat? In the chat, I guess. Did you say when you will starting out? Oh, yeah, we're starting tomorrow. Starting tomorrow. You guys that have been in the trading room have got some weeks and months coming though. So y'all don't have anything to worry about. You should be able to see Bose objects. Oh yeah. You should be able to see Bose objects in there already. But you might need my DLLs. And I'm just going to send those out without the updated workspaces for now, just so you have them, because Cedric's probably got a million things to do tomorrow when he comes in the morning. So just to show you real quick, we're going to be on server 0 and, you know, until told otherwise, or until we have to, until we have to switch over. We're going to try to make it to where it's automatic and you don't have to set it. But I guess I just did us in again, didn't I? When you right click on the toolbar header and you open up the UI, the user interface where you change the settings, there's emails right there. And that's where you'll change the server. So if I come to the support center, set email, getting started with trading room, export, import local files. Okay, what about server 0? Cedric. That's my fault, really. And import manager. Well, this one isn't really in there yet, is it? So much has changed. It's got to be here or in the local files. All right, he's even got a little bit about the forum there. Here we go. So you see that button there, emails? Once you click on that, you'll see at the top, server 0 or server 1, if you're licensed. But see, you won't be able to be licensed until you get my new DLLs. So let me go ahead and get those sent to you. I'm going to shut it down now because this is getting long and crazy. So we're going to start it tomorrow. 2-week trial begins tomorrow. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, the link is automatic. It's sent 30 minutes before 7. All right, before 7:30. It's sent at 7 o'clock. But see, we've still got to send you the DLLs and add you to the forum if you haven't been already. Most of the guys in the trading room have already been, so you should, Richard, you should have access to the forum. I'm sure that you do. Can you not access the forum? And then let's see, a link to the actual recording from right now is going to be on my YouTube page where they always are. That's the one being recorded right now, which you won't be able to watch for a little while. And then once you get in there, click on where it says videos and just dig around. You'll see how they've been uploaded over time. At least those on YouTube. There's a lot on Vimeo that are locked in the members area. All right, you guys, I'm gonna shut it down. I gotta go for real. Y'all do too. And thanks. Y'all have a good one. And if you want to join us today because everything is finally set up properly so that you'll get the proper tags and you won't have to go through what the previous few guys had to go through. Cool, Peter. You're welcome. Yeah, so we won't be in Slack anymore as of tomorrow. I'm going to leave it open for probably a couple of days. But I'm going to make sure that you guys shift over to the forum. So I'll have Cedric start up the trading room tomorrow as if, you know, it were a normal day in the trading room. And then we'll just kind of do that for a couple of days to make sure that, you know, some people are on vacation and whatever. Come to find out, about 90% of everybody they don't even receive our emails anymore because of that mishap with the alert system emails. So it destroyed our domain credibility, unfortunately, because somebody put a bunch of numbers in there for their email and we had like 50,000 bounces. And that doesn't look good for the old record. For the domain. Anyway, all right. You guys have a good one. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Buy it. Do it. Don't be an idiot. Just do it. You got 2 weeks. So one and only time we'll do a money back guarantee. So don't be foolish. Do it.